Hebrews. This is our Prophets of Awakening. It's our Monday night or advanced Bible study. It's the 4th of October, 2021. I'll be dealing with another minor prophet tonight. I'll be dealing with the book of Micah later on. So I'm asking everybody to like, share, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification button. For those who don't know, this is the Non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh is the Old Testament, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament, and that was given to Moses on Mount Sinai by the Lord of Hosts. So, shalom and welcome everyone. We're going to do our moment of silence in regards to the Creator and the Lord of Hosts and all that they are doing to bring about our deliverance from the land of our oppressors. So, with that being said, we do a little prayer right quick. O Lord, righteousness and uprightness belongeth unto thee. Therefore we come before thee at this hour, seeking thy face and looking for righteousness and uprightness, that we may walk before thee as thy servant David and Solomon and Samuel and Hezekiah did, that we may walk before thee in truth and in righteousness and in rightness of heart. Give unto us, O Lord, an understanding heart, that we may discern between good and bad. For you possess the power to turn us, O Lord. For we desire to walk after thee, O Lord, and to keep your commandments, your testimony, and your statutes with all our heart and all our soul, to perform the words of thy covenant that was written down by your prophets. O Lord, allow thy face to shine upon thy people. Hear our plea, hear and do, and hide not thy face from us, for we need you so very much at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay.
Hallelujah.
We read Psalms. Okay. I'll read Psalm 66. It says, the great works of God. It says, make a joyful noise unto God, all ye lands. Sing forth the honor of his name. Make his praise glorious. Say unto God, how terrible art thou in thy works. Through the greatness of thy power shall thy enemies submit themselves unto thee, and all the earth shall worship thee, and shall sing unto thee. They shall sing to thy name, Selah. Come and see the works of God. See the works of God. He is terrible in his doings toward the children of men. He turned the sea into dry land. They went through the flood on foot. They did. There did we rejoice in him. He ruleth by his power forever. His eyes behold the nations. Let not the rebellious exalt themselves. Selah. O bless our God, ye people, and make the voice of his praise to be heard, which holdeth our soul in life, and suffereth not our feet to be moved. For thou, O God, hast proved us, that thou hast tried us, as silver is tried. Thou brought us into the net. Thou layest affliction upon our loins. Thou hast caused men to ride over our heads. We went through the fire and through water, but thou broughtest us out in a wealthy place. I will go into thy house with burnt offerings. I will pay thee my vows, which my lips have uttered, and my mouth hath spoken when I was in trouble. I will offer unto thee burnt sacrifices of fattenings, with the incense of rams. I will offer bullocks with goats. Selah. Come and hear, all ye that fear God, and I will declare what he hath done for my soul. I cried unto him with my mouth, and he was extolled with my tongue. If I regard iniquity in my heart, the Lord will not hear me. But verily God hath heard me. He hath attended to the voice of my prayers. Blessed be God, which have not turned away my prayer, nor has mercy from me. That's Psalm 66. It's the great works of God. Okay. Any comments? Any comments? Okay. So let me see. I saw something in there I was reading. Uh, 13 is one of them. It says, I will go into the house with burnt offerings. I will pay thee my vows. 14, which my lips has uttered and my mouth has spoken when I was in trouble. So right here, everybody experienced this. When you get in trouble and it's bind, then you call on Most High and make all these commitments to Him. And then as soon as He gets you out the bind, people forget what they had told Him they was gonna do while they was in the bind, and that ain't good because it's almost like an oath. You told Him that what you're gonna do, then He do what you asked Him to do, but then you don't come back and do what you said. Then He wonder why drama come. So that's one of the things right there. It's almost like I was saying before when you pray about something and then go on about your business, forget. You forget what you prayed about. Okay. Let's do another one. I'll look at it. Okay, let's see what they said. Yeah, 15. This is what Abraham did. Right here it says, I will offer unto thee burnt sacrifices of fatnings with the incense of rams. I will offer bullocks with goats. Come in here, all ye that fear God, and I will declare what He hath done for my soul. So it's the same thing. When I read that, it reminded me of what Abraham done in Genesis 15. He did the same thing right here. He says, I will offer unto Him burnt sacrifices of fatlings with the incense of rams, and I will offer bullocks with goats. So let's look at that. Genesis chapter 15. Genesis 15, verse 7. And He said unto him, I am the Lord thy God. I am the Lord that brought thee up out of Ur of the Chaldeans to give thee this land to inherit it. And He said, Lord, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? Then 9. And He said unto him, look at this, tell me what to do. And He said unto him, Abraham want to know, right? So He says unto him, take me a heifer 3 years old, and a she goat 3 years old, and a ram, see that? 3 years old, turtle dove, and a young pigeon. Same thing David saying over here in Psalm 66. So that's something that you gotta factor in too. Each one of these men right here, they dealing with the Most High, but they sacrificed lambs and goats to Him before they did deal with Him. We ain't doing that. Okay. Any comments for you?
Was that a sacrifice before He confirmed the covenant with him?
Yeah, He did that too. That was when Abraham was yeah, right, because he did a covenant right there in the same chapter. Right. So Abraham called on him and asked him because he was concerned that he had no heir. All he had was Eliezer, his number one head servant. That's all he had that was over his house, and he was concerned about his he ain't had no heir from his loins.
Right.
So the Most High told him, if you want to know what's going on, then first of all make these sacrifices first. Then we'll get on the business. Ain't that something? Okay. Anybody else got any comments on that before we move forward? Anybody got any current events? Okay.
I have one. Shalom, everyone. I was watching a video today on the food shortages at the schools. They're saying that they're not able to feed the kids like they normally do for breakfast and lunch because they have a shortage on a lot of the things like their fruits and the meats and things like that, and they're having to go out to Walmart or Sam's to purchase in order to put a meal together for the children.
Right. Yeah, well, we already know what that is. It's another sign. I mean, how long can they keep doing that?
Right. Yeah.
It's just another sign that everything caving in.
Mm.
It's crazy. Shells ain't
That was out of Alabama in a school out of Georgia. Right.
Right. Shells ain't being stocked. The schools ain't got no food, and the ships backed up on the in the docks.
Right,
So,
exactly. And a lot of times, excuse me, yes. And a lot of times when you want to go to the store and purchase some meats or something like that, you're wondering why the shelves are empty. They're already not receiving much as it is. So if you got the schools coming in purchasing what they have, that's it. That's a wrap. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the same thing with a cold. You start getting the symptoms. The symptoms is a sign that you coming on with a cold. It's it's all of a sudden it ain't gonna go the other direction. It's a cold coming because all the symptoms are there. Same with this. This place about to be turned upside down. So this is a comment what you said. I said I have seen at least 2 videos where Walmart was throwing fruit into the dumpsters, emptying the shelves. Okay, and there's some. So we see right here where yeah, over and over again, we're getting all these signs. Seems like every day on a daily basis that something ain't right. And this place going to the dog. Okay, I got a couple of videos. This is a follow-up on what we've been talking about the immigrants. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
Migrants, most of them from Haiti, who camped out near a U.S. border crossing in South Texas last month. Many of them have made it through some of the most dangerous wilderness on this planet. The Darien Gap between Panama and Colombia is a jungle filled with wild animals, treacherous terrain, and armed criminals. CBS News has reported extensively from this area. Manuel Bojorquez is in Nicole, Colombia, talking to migrants who are still just trying to get through. Manuel, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Gail. It is estimated some 16,000 migrants are waiting here in Colombia for a chance to cross this bay to get themselves one step closer to a stretch of jungle known as the Darien Gap. Many of them wait weeks camped out along this beach here. And word that the U.S. has recently deported nearly 7,000 Haitians is doing very little to stop them.
A patchwork of tents has replaced the sunbathing tourists that once dotted the beaches of Necoclí. Each spot along the Caribbean coast has made it the next stop for migrants heading north, like Sharez Patrick.
Where do you go to? USA, the United States.
Now you see that brother right there? See how he look like us. The Indian, we saw the pictures of the Indian. The Indian don't look like that. Come on.
That's his goal. He fled poverty and violence in Haiti 4 years ago. He says only to find discrimination and little work in Chile.
Check him out.
A young woman and a girl. So everything you do is for them.
I want to change. I want to change.
You don't look like the African.
You want to change their lives too.
The shortest route from here to Panama is by boat, but that nation's government is only allowing 500 to cross a day, creating a bottleneck. There are clues here pointing to the hard journey ahead.
They want these types of shoes because they know some dangerous out there, but they're expensive. So he's only sold 2 pairs so far.
The danger is the Darien Gap, a 60-mile stretch of lawless jungle so treacherous at least 50 bodies have reportedly been found this year, but the real death toll is estimated to be 4 times higher. More than 88,000 have already crossed this year. Panama estimates 1 out of every 4 are children. Their roadmap is a network of WhatsApp groups with migrants sharing directions, tips, and warnings. But you won't go back.
Go back. No.
My journey is not back. My journey is.
Your dream is not back. Your dream is north. First, you must leave Necoclí. Lionel Nelson, his wife, and his infant daughter are about to do just that, an attempt to cross the gap.
That it's very difficult, that they're bandits, bandidos.
But despite the danger, Nelson is determined to push ahead. We were with them as they waited and finally got a chance to board.
Y aquí, a ver qué pasa. No sé, solo Dios sabe. Only God knows.
We followed Lionel and his family as they crossed and handed themselves over to smugglers on the other side
to continue their journey.
We'll have that part of.
Okay. Any comments?
Yeah, it's amazing to me that all this going on. That's why I just can't dismiss that 400-year prophecy. I think everything is based around it, the curses and everything.
Oh yeah, right.
You know, all this is happening for a reason. Cause we finna be I mean, you do your you do your time, judgment, then you leave with great something. Right. There ain't gonna be no reparation until we see this judgment. And in that order. And I just can't dismiss that 400 year because it's all right there in front of us.
Oh yeah. It's all good. So when you look at that, I mean, all you have to do is look at Babylon and then especially look at Egypt, because he came with the 10 plagues. The Israelites were still there, and ain't nothing new under the sun. He beat the brakes out of the Egyptians and made them cough up the reparations. Same thing we witnessing right now.
Right.
But they witnessed the judgment.
Right.
Same thing Babylon. Cyrus came in, they was there, they witnessed it. Then Cyrus told them they can go. After they came in and like he had told them, he was going to, they 70 years in Babylon, then he going to judge the Chaldeans. And Cyrus came in and did just that. Then he came out and gave them all they needed. We read that in Ezra chapter 1. He came out and gave them their reparations, and they left.
And same thing, you know, you do your 400-year sentence, and then, you know, we seeing all these things happening from every corner. I mean, so everywhere you turn, it's something going on, and you know, it's encouraging.
Oh yeah, right, exactly. Right. I mean, and that's for the ones that he didn't awaken to the understanding. Because a lot of people, it's just, you know, it's going rolling off their back like water on a duck back. They have no idea what's going on. You know, they thinking that it's gonna pass like everything else, man. You know, and when you understand the Most High creation, don't nothing last forever. Like I say, something go up, it's gonna come back down.
And one more thing, you know, every captivity we've been in, like 13, did they all go back to their homeland after they were free?
Yeah,
Okay,
right,
okay, 400-year sentence. That explained the
right,
civil rights movement. We wasn't free. Not in the
right,
Most High. He said, you're going to serve this sentence.
right, exactly,
I mean, we still here for a reason. And we got to see
right,
this judgment. Yeah.
right, exactly. Yeah, you're right. Right, ain't no getting around it. That's where the plumb line is. You know, you can say, people can say what they want to say all day long, but we still here. They coming up with all this different stuff, but we still here, and they still got their foot on our neck.
We still here. Everybody else getting their reparations.
Right,
But I mean, he just told us in that 400-year prophecy where it's going to go down. And
right.
that's just the way I see it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Like I was saying, it's all. I mean, it's a whole bunch of prophecies, like 4 or 5 of them. They all running concurrent together. It's just that different people said different things at different times, but they all alluding to the same event, which is what we're in the midst of right now. Yeah. Okay, so we got another one. There's another sign right here. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, it says Mark Zuckerberg loses $6 billion in an hour. See that? As Facebook plunges. See that? We see what we see. You got drama right now as we speak with the internet. But it says Mark Zuckerberg's personal wealth has fallen by more than $6 billion in a few hours, knocking him down a notch on the list of world richest people after a whistleblower came forward and outages took Facebook Inc. flagship to. This is what the problem is right here. Ain't that something?
Right.
Christmas at risk as supply chain disasters only get worse, reshaped by crisis. Okay, go down and says a sell-off sent to social media. It says a sell-off sent the social media giant stock plummeting 4.9% on Monday, adding to a drop of about 15% since mid-summer. The stock slid on Monday since Zuckerberg's work down 121.6 billion, dropping him below Bill Gates to number 5 on the Bloomberg Billionaire Index. He's now down from almost 140 billion in a matter of weeks, according to the index. Ain't that something? What I say? Here you go, right here. How many times we how many signs we got to see? So what we looking at, these people most I talking to right here. What we looking at on this chart? Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bernard Arnold, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg. These are people he talking to right here. He ain't getting this when he start talking about judgment, this is who he talking to. They you know, you don't get that kind of money being no nice guy. Huh? Okay.
True. I wonder how much more that whistleblower got to say. I think she said she left there in May, so I'm wondering what else she got to put out.
Oh yeah. Like I said, if it affect him, it's gonna affect the rest of them too, before it's all said and done. Just like with you know, you can't detach Goldman Sachs from the rest of the banking system that's in America and the world. When Goldman Sachs started going down, everything else had to go down. That's why they had to rescue Goldman Sachs. They all connected at the hip. So these clowns right here connected at the hip too. Believe that. Like I say, just another sign. We go one more. This right here is huge to me. So this Biden, can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, Biden won. Look, watch this here. This is what I'm talking about how they talking to each other. They ain't talking to us. It's just the ones most highly tipped off. So he says Biden warns on failing to lift the debt ceiling, the debt limit. I told you that. I've said that about 3 times. That they thinking they've been playing with the debt ceiling limit the last 4 or 5 times it happened, but it ain't business as usual now. The economy is too bad to be playing with it. So he says, now look what he say. A meteor, come on, a meteor is headed to crash into our economy. Come on now. All right, so anyway, let that front mate. Says a meteor is headed to crash into our economy. Biden said Monday during the White House speech, Democrats are willing to do all the work stopping it. Republicans just have to let us do our job. Just get out of our way. Biden plea comes from now you know Republicans ain't going for that kind of talk. It says Biden plea comes after Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen last week warned the Treasury Department is likely to exalt extraordinary measures to keep from defaulting on our debt by October 18th if Congress has not acted to raise it or suspend the debt limit. Okay. The Congressional Budget Office has given a later deadline saying the government most likely will run out of cash near the end of October or the beginning of November if lawmakers fail to act. Republicans have argued repeatedly that the Democratic lawmakers ought to go in it alone and lift the debt limit through a process of known as the budget reconciliation, similar to how they are working to pass their social spending package without GOP vote. Okay. So since mid-July, Republicans have clearly stated that Democrats will need to raise the debt limit on their own. McConnell said on Monday in a letter to Biden that was released by the Kentucky Republican office. Your lieutenants in Congress must understand that you do not want your unified Democratic government to sleepwalk toward an affordable catastrophe when they have had nearly 3 months notice to do their job. GOP lawmakers had. Democrats have urged again and again that the increase should happen through a standard process and criticize Republicans for preventing it. Here we go. Biden said it's up to Mitch McConnell, but the U.S. breaches its debt ceiling. As he said, he can't promise it won't happen. See that? It ain't looking good. Any comments? Okay. No comments. Everybody good?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody good? So we had talked about the Maccabees. Anybody on here know who the Maccabees are? This is a little need to know information. Anybody familiar with the Maccabees? Okay. Anybody know who the Maccabees are?
Not sure.
First and second Maccabees in the Apocrypha. Okay, well,
I read it, but I don't know who they are.
Okay, yeah. So the Maccabees is a group. It's a lineage, just like you got the first dynasty in Rome. You had Caesar and you had Julius Caesar, Augustus Caesar, all them that was a lineage. Just like you had 29 dynasties in Egypt. So the Maccabees supposedly tied to David. They had a guy named John Hangus that came on the scene right after Solomon's temple, after Zerubbabel temple was destroyed. This guy came on the scene, John Hangus, and from him, when you go read the Maccabees, when Antiochus Epiphanes came and took over, we was reading where those boys, he had those sons, Judas and Darius and all them that fought against the Greeks. That's the lineage that comes into the New Testament. The Maccabees, they're supposed to be tied to David's lineage. They tied them to David's lineage, but like I said, when you understand all this, you see where the drama coming in at. That is garbage, because I showed you how it's the Old Testament closed out with Malachi, and Malachi tells us that. Let me read it. Somebody might not heard this before. Malachi chapter 4. It's the last book of the Old Testament. The last book of all records. Because the New Testament ain't got nothing to do with us. So, Malachi chapter, very last 2 verses. Behold, I will send Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And he shall turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the hearts of the children to their fathers, lest he come and smite the earth with a curse. So we know this ain't happened yet. Elijah ain't came back. So this ain't happened yet. So this book, he told Daniel, seal the book up. This is the book he's talking about. The book of remembrance. It wasn't no New Testament. So we told him to seal it up. And then at the time of the end, it's going to be opened back up. That's when Elijah come back. So when they concocted JC at the Conference Hill, they needed to open this book back up. So they open it back up and tell you that John the Baptist is Elijah. That's how they open it back up. John the Baptist is Elijah. That's how they open it back up. So so the same thing with that. Like I say, you started one lie and you came up with one trick, you had to come up with another one. Now they got to come and they got to extend David lineage. Now they come with these Maccabees, this David lineage coming into the New Testament. That's why they got 1st and 2nd Maccabees in the Apocrypha. And so, like I said before, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm enjoying it. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So you got the Maccabees. They say that, I mean, so like I was saying before, what people have to understand about this information, we got to get to a point where what they got and where they put it don't mean nothing. You got to find, like they say, you're trying to find a terrorist group. They tell you it's a terrorist group that's in the process of attacking America. Then you can't fumble with it. The only way to follow them is follow the money. Damn what somebody say, blah blah this and blah blah that. If you follow the money and they tell you he just made a deposit over here in Istanbul, well hell, that's where he at. He in Istanbul. He just made a deposit, or he just draw some money out. So damn what they saying. So it's the same thing with this. People getting emotional about where it's at in the book. Damn where it's at. We following the understanding. Like for example, we already know the Lord of Hosts is. Whatever they got in this King James, wherever it's in the Old New Testament, if it don't line up with that, then it don't matter where it's at. We follow the information, line upon line, precept upon precept. And I don't know nobody that can do that. You know what I'm saying? So let's look at it. So they put Maccabees over there and stuck it over there in the Apocrypha. But most of the information comes out of Daniel. Let's look at it for a minute. I got to go into this for a minute. I wasn't intending to. So Daniel told us that, let's look at it right quick. Daniel said, I'm in the book of Daniel. And Daniel said, right here, this is a whole nother level of understanding. So let's look at it. Daniel says, the angel came to Daniel, right? Well, I told you how that works. The angel comes and enter into you. That's how they have dreams and visions. Just like the Pharaoh was laying on his bed. He tell you he was laying on his bed and he had a dream. So when you understand what's going on, the angel came. Most High Lord of Hosts gave Gabriel, one of these angels, this dream, and he took it and entered into Nebuchadnezzar, the Pharaoh, and gave him the dream. And then so that's when Pharaoh got up and asked him, I had a dream, but it went away from me. The dream went away from me. I need somebody to interpret it, tell me what the dream was and interpret it. Well, the only way you're going to get that information is got to go back to the kingdom of God, to the angels. And that's what Joseph went and done. So, right, so how it happens is you get a vision, then the angel comes, bring you the vision, then he comes interpret the vision, and then it comes to pass. So I'm in chapter 8. And so Daniel had a vision of a ram and a he-goat. So verses 1 through 14, he gave him the vision. Then he came in 15 through 27 and gave him the interpretation. All we need to happen after that is to have to come to pass. So let's look at it. So he giving them interpretation starting at verse 15. It came to pass. See that? Came to pass. When I, Daniel, had seen the vision, and I sought for the meaning, and behold, there stood before me the appearance of a man. It shouldn't surprise you, because he got to wait on the angel to come give him the interpretation. And then he wait on it for it to come to pass. So then you pick it up in 18. Now, as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep with my face toward the ground. He touched me, and he set me upright. And he said, behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of indignation, what the time appointed the end shall be. And I'm telling you over and over again, this ain't the end of the world. We still dealing with the world. So he's saying the end of Israel as a nation. And so that's the topic. That's the topic 7. The end of the Lord's indignation, the last end of the Lord's indignation, the time appointed the end. He through with Israel as a nation. That's the topic. 20. The ram which thou sawest having 2 horns are the kings of the Medes and Persians. They in Babylon. Then he says, Daniel in Babylon when he had this vision. So the ram and the Medes and Persians coming. Then 21. And the rough goat is the king of Greece, and the great horn that between his eyes is Alexander, right? The king, the first king is Alexander. Now as that's being broken, whereas 4 stood up for it, 4 kings shall stand up out of that nation, but not in their own power. Still the Greek kingdom, the third beast. And in the latter times of their kingdom, same kingdom, the third beast. When the transgressors are come to a full, a king of fierce countenance and understand dark sinners shall stand up. That's Antioch Epiphanes. When you go do your homework, this don't add up with the New Testament, right? So it says, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully. Look at this. And he shall prosper, practice, and he shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. So this is the person right here that destroyed the holy people, right? 25. And through his policies, also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart. And by pieces he shall destroy many, and he shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hands. So prince of princes is Michael. Michael is the prince. He the first prince. Gabriel prince, Raphael the prince, but Michael was the first one created. He's the prince. He's the Lord of hosts, the prince of princes. So we see all this right here. The angel brought the vision to Daniel, then came and explained it to him. It didn't come to pass. So let's look at that. So where is it at? If it ain't in here, it ain't in the King James. But look where it's at. I'm over here. I'm gonna show it to you. I mean, the Apocrypha, so-called Apocrypha. I ain't riding on it. I'm following the knowledge. So, the First Maccabees. Okay. First Maccabees, right here. Point blank. It came to pass after Alexander of Macedon, son of Philip, who came from the land of Checham, had utterly defeated Darius, Gabriel just explained all that to Daniel. In Daniel, this go in Daniel. It don't go in Apocrypha. It go in Daniel. So I ain't looking where it's at. I know where it go. And he break everything that Daniel told him. He break it down in this book right at First Maccabees. But I ain't riding off First Maccabees because I know what they've done. So now let's go on in. Let's see who these Maccabees are, Maccabeans are. And remember what we just read. Okay? Remember what the interpretation was. He gave him a vision and then told him the ram and the he-goat. We ain't dealing with the fourth beast. The Israelites leaving before they get to the fourth beast. So that means all that after was over there in Revelations and in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John is a wash. Because I just read what the Israelites left with Antioch Epiphanes in the end of the third kingdom. They ain't leaving 70 AD. So let's look at it. This is what I mean by when you have the right understanding, and then it's stuff they bring right across your face and insult you because of, people don't understand what's in happening. So here we go. We're playing this video right here. It's talking about the Maccabean revolt, which is tied to the Maccabean revolt tied to the New Testament, JC and all that. Let's look at it and see if we can rightly divide it. Here we go.
Every winter, Jewish communities across the globe come together in celebration of the festival of Hanukkah.
Going all the way in.
The image of the menorah and its iconic 8 candles shining through the dark winter night is one of the most visually recognizable aspects of traditional Jewish culture. But from where does this ancient holiday ritual stem?
Here we go.
Answer, we must go back 2,200 years.
Now let's go all the way in. So I said the other day, yesterday in the big High Tech conversation we had, that you keep hearing 2,000 years ago. See that? Go to Hosea. See that? They keep on saying 2,000. When they talk about JC, 2,000, everything's 2,000 years ago. And Hosea done told us 2,000 years. Then he gonna come and get us. So here we go.
Time when the descendants of Alexander the Great ruled in the land of Judea.
He on point.
And tell a story of the ancient Jewish people's struggle to win liberty against the forces of the Hellenic world.
See that?
Our sponsor.
So they had a struggle with the Hellenic world. So let's look at that. That's when the Maccabees supposedly came on the scene. So let me open this up right quick. We're going all the way in. Okay, see behind me right here? This tied to the Maccabees. And you gotta let this ferment. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yahweh ain't made no 9 branches on no candlestick. This tied to the Maccabees. See that? So Yahweh made this over here. Let's look at it. See that? He made this right here. So right here, when you see that, when you rightly divide it, it's a dead cat on the line. From this point right here, it's a dead cat on the line. Who concocted this? These are the Maccabees. They said so. Why they say it's 9 candlesticks? Because they said they rededicated the temple after it got destroyed. But what Gabriel told Daniel. Let's look at it. We're going all the way in. So I'm in Daniel chapter 9. I'm gonna start at verse 25. So know therefore understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem until the Messiah the Prince shall be 7 weeks, 62 weeks, and the street shall be built again, and the wall in troublesome times. So that happened way back here. You got to go backwards. I'm in Ezra. This for the people that don't know nothing about this. So I'm in Ezra, and here go the commandment. The commandment in John 25 is in Ezra, chapter 1. Now, it was the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled. The Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, put it in writing, saying, thus says Cyrus, king of Persia, the Lord God, the Lord of hosts of heaven, have given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he have charged me to build him a house in Jerusalem, which is in Judea. Who is there among you of all this people? His God be with him, and let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judea, and build a house of the Lord God that's in Israel. So we can't get around it. Like I say, we following the scriptures. Down the point, it don't matter where they end up at. We following the information. So 25 just say right here, know therefore understand that from the going forth of the commandment, I just read the commandment. It's way back in Ezra. And it says, to restore and build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the Prince, shall be 7 weeks, 62 weeks. The streets shall be built again, and the wall. What wall? The wall that Nebuchadnezzar tore down. Ain't no other wall. See that? So even in troublesome time. Now here we go. To get back to the story. 26. And after 62 weeks shall the Messiah, this is Zerubbabel, the second temple that Zerubbabel built, be cut off. So Darius sent a letter and cut him off for 2 years. When he got back, they started building the temple. And then later on, he sent another letter and they started back building it. It says, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come, this Antioch Epiphanes, over in First Maccabees, what I just read, shall come, look at this, destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood, and unto the end wars and desolations and are determined. 27, and he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week, he shall cause, look at this, in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifices and the abomination to cease. And from the overspreading of the abomination, he shall make it desolate, right? Even until the consummation that the desolate determined shall be poured upon him. Ain't nobody coming and rededicate nothing. So how we get this? It's a fictitious story. The Maccabees fictitious. Just like JC fictitious. From this point on right here, it's fictitious. You got to understand that. So let's look at it. So I'm going to read it again. 26. And after 62 weeks shall the Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city. See this? Destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood. And until the end, wars, desolations are determined. And he shall confirm, this Antichrist, Antioch Epiphanes, he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifices and the oblations to cease. And for the overspreading of the abomination, he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon him. Nothing whatsoever got to do with no rededication or no 9-branch menorah. And this 9-branch menorah comes in with the Maccabees. And they supposedly rededicated the temple. Them Edomites. And like I said, who knows that? These Edomites. Come on. So let's go in on it. I just read you he gonna make a covenant with them for 1 week. Let me read that, then we'll get back on point. So he said he's gonna make a covenant for 1 week. I'm back over in First Maccabees right quick. First Maccabees. That's the title they got on it, but it comes out of Daniel. So it says down in chapter 1, verse 11. In those days arose out of Israel lawless men who persuaded many. Let us go and make a treaty. See that? Make a treaty with the heathen round about us, for ever since the time that we became separated from them, many misfortunes have overtaken us. The plan, that's the 7-year plan. Right there. The plan seemed good in their eyes, and some of the people went eagerly to the king. What king? The king of fierce countenance. In Daniel chapter 8. Gabriel prophesied, and he authorized them to introduce practices of the heathen. And they built gymnasium in Jerusalem. See that? This during the time of the Greeks and like Epiphanes. Where the gymnasium at in the Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John? Where the gymnasium at? They don't want you to know that. Okay, so let's look at it. Let's get back on point. So here we go. Let's start this back again.
Allow us to release videos regularly without missing a beat. So shout out a battleground where the two Macedonian dynasties jockeyed for power and influence. Despite this, life remained fairly peaceful, or in terminal decline. As a result, the history of the Jewish people soon came to be defined by the carousel of foreign empires that took turns conquering and subsequently ruling the ancestral Hebrew homeland. First came the Assyrians, then the Babylonians, then the Persians, who ruled the Jews with a reasonably...
So we're going to multitask. We're going to multitask while we're doing this. So we see right here, the guy's giving us all the names of all the people that came upon Israel. They lands in their geographical locations. See, America ain't over there. Israel ain't Israel over here. All these they naming all these different geographical locations, different nations and nationality people, and the lands they came from, and how they came upon Israel and overtook it. It ain't in America. They can't come all the way from here and go over to America and conquer Israelites. Israel got to be over here too. Come on, we got ships backed up on the container ships backed up, and the government about to collapse. We got to deal with the truth of the matter. Israel over here, it ain't in America. We're gonna keep going.
Fair and light hand. Finally, in 332 BC, the Macedonian phalanxes of Alexander would steamroll the Achaemenid Empire out of existence, establishing classical Greek as the dominant language and culture of the Near East. It is here that the Jewish people became subjects of the Greek world. When Alexander died, his massive Macedonian empire fractured into several monarchies,
word for word,
ruled by his closest comrades and later their descendants. These so-called Diadochi kingdoms were constantly at war with one another.
Okay, let's stop right there. You say Alexander died, his kingdom was divided up into four generals. And he just said they constantly war with each other. Well, let's look at it. You know, it's more than one way to skin a cat. So let's look at it. I'm in Daniel, chapter 11. So like I say, the rabbi and the mega pastor, they go from Revelations back to Genesis chapter 11, Daniel chapter 11. So the man just told you the four kings that Alexander took up after Alexander died was constantly warring with each other. So Daniel told us in chapter 9, and I'm gonna go to 11 in a minute, but chapter 9 he says, I'm gonna read it again, 26. After 62 weeks shall the Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. The people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be the flood, and unto the end wars and desolations are determined. So it was destroyed by Antiochus Epiphanes. And we just seen when Alexander died, it was taken up by his four generals. They constantly fighting with each other. So now let's go to chapter 11. And it says, this Gabriel talking. Also I, Gabriel, in the first year of Darius of the Medes, second beast, even I stood up to confirm and strengthen him. And now I will show thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet three kings, three more kings that got to come out of Medes and Persians. See that? This ain't got nothing to do with you can't go from Revelation to this, or from here to Revelation. You can't do that. So he says, and now I will show thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up three kings in Persia, and the fourth shall be far richer than they all, and by his strength, through his riches, he shall stir up all against the realm of Greece. Now that takes you right back to Alexander. Alexander the Great. See that? A mighty king shall stand up, and he shall rule with great dominion and according to his will. That's Alexander. So all these wars right here is between the four generals that came from Alexander. This ain't got nothing to do with Rome. It ain't got nothing to do with now. This ain't no prophecy that got to be fulfilled. And if you fumbling with it, you way off on Prim Road somewhere. Okay. Now let's go back in on the video.
Gaia, being situated in the borderland between the Ptolemies of Egypt and Seleucids of Syria, became a battleground where the two Macedonian dynasties jockeyed for power and influence. Despite this, life remained fairly peaceful.
King of the South, King of the North.
The Hellenistic kings generally used the same light touch the Persians had, interfering very little in the region's culture, religion, and internal politics. The Jewish people were ruled semi-autonomously by a high priest of the Judaic faith, who handled matters both religious and secular from the Great Temple of Jerusalem. In 198 BC, Antiochus III had finally expelled the Ptolemies out of Judea.
So he said 198, but I done broke that down. Excuse me. Oh man, I'm sorry about that. I ain't brought nobody else up. Can y'all hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can.
Did y'all hear me? Y'all hear me all the time?
Yeah, we could hear you. Yes.
Okay, good. My bad. Yeah, I got caught fire, you know what I mean? So, right here.
Judea, putting the region firmly under the suzerainty of the Seleucid Empire.
See that?
He lowered taxes and affirmed the Jewish people's freedom to live by their own faith.
They talk about it in Daniel chapter 11.
And for now, Judea was content. Throughout world history, we often see subject peoples of a multi-ethnic empire willingly adopt the language and customs of said empire's rulers in an attempt to improve social mobility. So many Jewish peoples began to practice the Greek culture of their suzerain.
Okay, so let's look at that. So that's how we get the Septuagint. Like I said, you might not have heard none of this, but I'm gonna break it down for you tonight. This is how you get the Septuagint, right here. These Greeks wanted the Old Testament. The New Testament ain't even in existence. They want the Old Testament in Greek. They don't want to deal with the Hebrew. Yahweh speak Hebrew. Lord of hosts speak Hebrew. All the angels speak Hebrew. They don't want to deal with that. They want to change the Old Testament to Greek. That's just like that 9 breath menorah. That's abominable. That ideal is abominable. This is where we went off at. Okay.
This phenomenon, known as Hellenization, was perpetuated mainly by the upper strata of Jewish society, namely the wealthy priests, merchants, and aristocrats in urban Jerusalem. The Hellenization process was expedited in 175 BC.
It ain't the Romans. It ain't the Romans. It's the Greeks.
And the culturally traditionalist high priest, Onias III, was deposed by his Philhellene brother, Joshua, better known by his Greek name, Jason. Jason would go on to wield his power as high priest to begin transforming Jerusalem into a classically...
So let's look at it. So you see what he just told you, right? You got a European name. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. We don't have no Hebrew ancestors named Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. It's a dead calendar line. Okay?
Greek city by building a gymnasium and an ephebeium.
See that?
Essentially,
doing the Greek kingdom.
Centers for Greek education and learning. He also sent Jewish athletes to compete in a mimicry of the Olympic Games, hosted by the king in Tyre. There he offered a sacrificial tribute to the Greek demigod Hercules, to whom the games were dedicated.
So now let's look at that. You see he got Hercules on the scene. He got a high priest called Jason. Ain't none of our forefathers named Jason. So what's going on? Well, let's look at it. Let's rightly divide it. I'm in Daniel. Daniel, right? Says Daniel chapter 8. And he says, verse 23, and it's a lot of times of their kingdom, this is the Greek kingdom, when the transgressors are come to a full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sins shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power, and he shall destroy wonderfully and prosper and practice, see that, and practice and destroy the mighty and holy people. And through his policies, these are policies right here, what we're looking at, what the man talking about. Through his policies also, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace he will destroy many, he destroy Israelites. And so let's look at it. Go to Obadiah. Again, Obadiah, it's the same thing. Obadiah tells you the same thing. I'm going to read it right quick. At the time when Antiochus Epiphanes came on the scene, Antiochus, they're waiting on the Antichrist to come, but he already came. So when he came, right here, we showing what he did. He had them, the Israelites, banned the Bible. They couldn't read the Tanakh. He banned them from having the Sabbath. He banned them from being circumcised. Those are the practices they tell about. That people waiting on to happen, but already didn't happen. And so Obadiah tells you right here in verse 10, for the violence. What violence? What they talking about? What he done? The violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, this is when Antiochus came. These the Greeks, these the Edomites. In the day when thou stood on the other side, in the day that strangers carried away captive his forces, that's when the Antiochus. They want you to think it's during Babylonian time, but Obadiah telling you it's during the time of the Greeks, when the Most High, when the Israel nation came to an end, his indignation came to a full. He was tired of playing with them. So he says in 11, in the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that strangers carried away captive his forces, foreigners entered into his gates, cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou was one of them. Edomite, he's talking to Esau. That's where you're getting these Jason and all these names from. And Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, them Edomites. See that? So, 12. But thou should not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger. That's what I just read. He told him, I'm through with you. Israel as a nation finna come to an end. That's what Gabriel told Daniel. Neither should thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. See that? Neither should thou have spoken proudly in the day of their distress. Thou should not have entered into the gates of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou should not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. And neither should thou have stood in the crosshair, see this, to cut off those that did escape. Neither should thou have delivered up those that did remain. So these Edomites knew the Most High always left a remnant. And they came in because they wanted the land. And they gave the remnant up. And that's what Gabriel told Daniel. Ain't nobody gonna, Israel, I'm through with Israel as a nation. He ain't leaving no remnant. So he calls these Edomites to kill the remnant. So we know this ain't the Babylonian captivity. This is during the time of the Greeks right here. This is what these people have done. And like I said, none of this is in the scriptures at all. When you get through, when you leave Malachi, that's during the time of the second beast. And then you go to the New Testament, Matthew, we in the fourth beast. None of this ain't in there. Yahweh don't work like that. So, like I said, if I'd have found this in the book in Moby Dick, the book of Moby Dick, I wouldn't care. I'm following the information. I don't care where I find it at, but here go the connecting dots right here. It happened to be over there in this fictitious book they call Maccabees. Right. So let's keep going.
Perhaps his most radical policy was to allow non-Jews in Jerusalem to set
I don't know if I could do that.
gods within the holy temple itself. The fact that the high priest was openly tolerating and even promoting the polytheistic gods was deeply disturbing to many Jews who clung to their monotheist faith. This sentiment was
Now, I showed you that Esau stole the land, so they imposed it on us. They important in our minds these Israelites. But notice what they calling them, Jews. They ain't Israelites. They calling them Jews. They done meshed the story. There's a whole nother lineage and nationality of people that came in Jerusalem after Antiochus Epiphanes left. Esau came in and stole the land. So from Antiochus Epiphanes' appearance on the world scene till 70 AD, them Edomites. Them ain't no Israelites. Josephus, the Maccabees, all them Edomites.
Especially strong in the poorer rural communities of Judea, who had clung far closer to Orthodox Judaism. A strange situation was made worse in 175 BC, when one Antiochus IV Epiphanes became the Seleucid Basileus. Various ancient accounts describe him as a proto-Nero or Commodus, that is to say, erratic. His sobriquet, Epiphanes, meant manifested from God, but among his people, he was secret.
So let's look at it. So he said, we just read in the prophecy that Gabriel gave to Daniel, that he was going to raise himself up above God. But look what his name means. God manifested. You can't raise yourself up no higher than over God than that. That's what he called himself. He God manifested. He the God. He God. He the creator of everything. He over God. And so what I'm showing you is this stuff can happen. All this can happen.
Secretly known by a variation of the title, Epimanes, which meant madman. It was him who in the first year of his rule supported Jason's coup against Ananias III, voting a pro.
That's one of the Maccabees right here, Jason.
Greek high priest would help Hellenize the Jews. However, only 3 years later, Antiochus decided that Jason wasn't Hellenizing Judea fast enough. So
let's look at it. He said 3 years later. He had a treaty with him for 7 years. 3.5 years later. See that? All this can happen.
To replace him with an even more pro-Hellenic priest, Menelaus. With that matter settled, Antiochus then marched with his armies into Egypt, aiming to double the size of his empire by seizing the Ptolemaic.
Just 3.5 years.
While the king was preoccupied, Jason seized his opportunity and returned to Jerusalem, initiating a counter-coup and expelling the deeply unpopular Menelaus. However, Antiochus's campaign was cut short when the Roman Republic intervened on behalf of the Ptolemies. Unable to match the strength of the legion, the king was forced to retreat to Syria. Already utterly humiliated by Rome, Antiochus's mood turned wrathful when he found out that his subjects in Jerusalem had rebelled. He stormed Jerusalem with his army.
Came back in the midst of the week. 3.5 years. He came back in the midst of the week.
Slaying the supporters of Jason and reinstating his puppet Menelaus as high priest. He then left Apollonius in charge of subduing the city, who accomplished his job by dismantling the walls of Jerusalem and building a fort named Akrab on the nearby hill of Ophel, so everyone could gaze upwards and see the symbol of King Antiochus's power. Rather than leaving good enough alone, Antiochus began to actively exterminate Judaism, forbidding the people of Judea from observing the Sabbath,
long before the Romans came,
sons, or performing other rituals. He had the Holy Temple in Jerusalem converted into a temple of Zeus, within which he personally spilled the blood.
So we done all this before JC came. He turned the temple, he converted the temple into a temple for Zeus. So what Yahushua or JC, what he talking about? Way back here, he turned the temple into a temple for Zeus. So if you don't know this, then how you gonna even deal with anything? And we, like I said, we're in the last days. Come on.
Of a pig, a deeply sacrilegious ritual to the Judaic faith.
Long before JC came,
that the Jewish people should begin worshipping the Greek gods. Hellenized Jews accepted these changes, but many others did not, resolving instead to fight.
Hellenized Jew, that's another word for Edomites. Synagogue of Satan. We rightly dividing the scriptures and the video.
It is here that the Maccabees enter our story. Our story now shifts to the small Judean town of Modi'in, where a local priest, Mattathias, and his 5 sons live.
5 sons.
They belong.
I want to break that down right here. So, I just showed you the Israelites gone. You can go read that in First Maccabees. He done ran them out. They gone. And I read in Obadiah where Esau came in and stole the land and had the remnant killed. The Israelites on the west coast of Africa. From this point on, they're on the west coast of Africa. Now, here come the Maccabees. Let's look at it.
To the relatively minor Hasmonean family, and were deeply Orthodox Jews who had remained true to every tenet of their religion, even as their countrymen became increasingly assimilated into Greek culture. Sometime in 167 BC, a Seleucid official arrived in Modin and compelled the townsfolk to offer a sacrifice to the Greek gods. Mattathias refused to make this offering, and another one of the townsfolk, a Hellenized Jew, stepped forth to do so in his place. Flying into a rage, Mattathias drew his knife and murdered his countrymen before he could perform the ritual. The priest then cut down the Seleucid official as well, and destroyed the pagan altar for good measure. Knowing they would be branded outlaws, Mattathias and his 5 sons fled into the nearby hills, followed by many like-minded Orthodox Jews, known as the Hasidim. From there, the fight had begun. While Mattathias died sometime in 166 BC from causes unknown, he would be succeeded by his 3rd son, Judah, a dynamic young commander who, through a mixture of ferocity, ruthlessness, and bravery, would come to be known as Maccabeus, a word deriving from the Aramaic Maccabah, the hammer. At the early stages, the rebellion was not a struggle between Jews and Greeks, but a civil conflict between...
Now, Gabriel told Daniel they're going to destroy the temple, and if any there is going to be with war, there's going to cause abomination to make a death. Ain't going to be no coming back. Anti-Epiphanes already done that. Now watch what these clowns going to do.
Pro- and anti-Hellenic Jews. The Maccabees began their movement with a terror campaign, launching lightning raids upon predominantly Jewish towns. They killed many of their own countrymen, who they considered too Greek, burning down their homes and destroying the pagan altars where they worshipped. Most notably, they rounded up the sons of Hellenized Jews and had them forcefully circumcised. The message was simple. Greek culture was to be purged from Judea. Before long, the Maccabees had earned the attention of the military governor Apollonius, who resolved to crush the rebels before they could sow any more chaos. In 167 BC, after gathering a local army of around 2,000 men in Samaria, Apollonius marched south to the Gophna Hills, where it was said that the elusive Judah was hiding out. Here, the Maccabees proved they were capable of more than just murdering civilians and burning altars. Knowing they were outnumbered and out-equipped, Judah deliberately lured the enemy army deep into his native territory, where the hilly terrain made it impossible for the Seleucids to form up into their Macedonian phalanx. With only 600 men, the Maccabees surrounded and ambushed the Seleucid forces just outside the town of Wadi Haramia, routing the...
Notice he said Maccabees, Macedonians. These ain't Romans, these Greeks.
...off the field. Apollonius was killed in the fighting, and Judah claimed the fallen commander's sword, wielding it as a symbol that his rebellion had been blessed by God. The Maccabees followed up their victory with another in 166 BC, ambushing an army of 4,000 Seleucids led by Seron at the Beth Horon mountain pass. These 2 victories would set the theme for much of the revolt, in which smaller, poorly armed contingents of Maccabean warriors would utilize terrain-based guerrilla warfare to consistently outwit the well-armed Seleucid armies that outnumbered them greatly. Later that year, Antiochus IV was forced to take the bulk of his armies eastwards to deal with a Parthian invasion, putting the local governor of Syria, Lysias, in charge of quashing the growing Jewish revolt with limited resources. Despite this, Lysias managed to field a significantly large army of some 10,000 professional Macedonian-trained soldiers. He put 2 experienced commanders, Gorgias and Nicator, in charge of this force and sent it into Judea. The Hellenes set up an entrenched camp at the town of Emmaus, while Maccabeus responded by leading around 3,000 Jewish warriors to the adjacent town of Mizpah. where they fasted and prayed to God to deliver them victory in the battle to come. In the days that followed, some of the local anti-Maccabean Jews informed the Seleucid commanders where Judah had set up his base. Seizing the opportunity to catch his enemy flat-footed, Gorgias rallied some 5,000 infantry and 1,000 cavalry and marched for Mizpah. However, his heavily armored Argyraspides were slow and cumbersome, and their presence was soon picked up on by Maccabean scouts. Rather than face Gorgias's force head-on, Judah decided rather ingeniously to abandon his camp, taking advantage of his army's speed and maneuverability to skirt around the expeditionary force and strike instead at their now more sparsely populated camp at Emmaus. Taken completely by surprise, the reserve forces in Emmaus were either slaughtered or routed, and their supplies looted or burned. After failing to find any rebels in Mizpah or the surrounding hinterlands, Gorgias returned to his camp, only to find it aflame. Seeing this, the morale of his army was crushed, and they fled for the coast. Reeling from yet another decisive defeat, the high priest Menelaus in Jerusalem, with the support of Lysias, attempted to bring Judah and his cohort to the bargaining table, offering to repeal some of the more egregious anti-Judaism laws of Antiochus. However, these negotiations failed, for the Maccabees would accept nothing less than the total eradication of Hellenization in Judea. By 164 BC, Governor Lysias had taken it upon himself to assemble and lead an army of some 20,000 men in Antioch, leading them south through Idumea and the valleys east of Gaza to a town called Beth-Zur, where he encamped his army in the local fortified citadel, hoping to strike at the
we're going somewhere.
Maccabees' southern flank. By this point, Judah Maccabeus had some 10,000 men under his command, his numbers having swelled as the reputation of his victories grew. Nevertheless, he was still outnumbered and outgunned by Lysias' army, so he stuck to tried and true tested methods to best his foe. Historical sources are vague on how the Battle of Beth-Zur played out, but it seems evident that the Maccabees spent the next few months harassing the Seleucids through hit-and-run tactics, striking at foraging parties, patrols, and any platoon of Syrian Greeks unfortunate enough to be caught outside the town citadel. This was never enough to earn a decisive victory, but it was enough to keep Lysias and his army consistently on the back foot. The status quo changed in late autumn, when in the Far East, the Seleucid Epiphanes contracted disease while campaigning against the Parthians and died. The monarch's death meant that his son, the 10-year-old Antiochus V, was now Basileus of the Seleucid Empire, and there would be no small amount of courtiers willing to influence the young boy for personal gain. Suddenly, Lysias's priorities had shifted, and he was compelled to return to Antioch to secure control of the infant king in order to keep his power and influence in the royal court, which meant that the campaign in Judea was over. Due to his persistence, cunning, and some plain old luck, Judah Maccabeus was victorious once more. With his victory at Beth-Zur, he was able to march his army more or less unopposed to Jerusalem, which, ironically, he was able to stride right into because the Seleucid governor Apollonius had destroyed its city walls a few years earlier. Following this, the Hellenized and other Seleucid loyalists retreated to Acre. Now firmly in control of the holy city, the Hammer of Judea entered the temple, destroying the altar to Zeus and the idols that had been erected during the reigns of Jason and Menelaus. His youngest brother, Jonathan Amphus, was installed as the new high priest of Judea. Among the sacred objects to be restored was the menorah, a golden candelabrum whose 7 branches represented knowledge and creation. It was supposed to be kept burning every night, but its light had been extinguished during the persecutions. However, the temple had been so thoroughly pillaged that there was only enough oil to keep the candles of the menorah burning for one night. Despite this, once lit, the candles burned bright and true for 8 full days. This supposed miracle of God is the cornerstone of Hanukkah. And to this day, when Jewish communities around...
There you go, right there. That's the Maccabees. They tied it right there. A 9-branch menorah. They rededicated the temple. When Gabriel, I don't know about nobody else, but I'm gonna listen to what Gabriel said. And what Daniel and David and Daniel them said. And he said that the abomination that make it desert. And ain't nobody coming back and rededicating no temple. It's garbage. So let me see what people got to say right here. So it says, if he's going to stand up against Michael and turn on the holy people, then wouldn't that mean that a man in linen, Daniel 12:7, is going to doing the same job as the prince to come, who you say is Antiochus Epiphanes? The prince that comes is Antiochus Epiphanes. He's a prince to the king. He was a hostage in Rome, and they brought him back. You got to be able to rightly divide what kind of prince he's talking about. Just like you got to rightly divide who the Lord is, what Lord you're dealing with. It's more than one Lord. It's more than one prince. You got prince. You got David got son. Solomon a prince. This guy right here, Antiochus, a prince. He was taken by the Romans and taken to Rome and made he was a hostage there. And then when his daddy died, he came back and to take his rightful spot as king. That's this prince right here. So that's how you gotta know what prince you're dealing with. So let's look at that. Let's give an example right quick. So I'm over here in Daniel chapter 10. So like I said, you be in Priam Road. If you don't understand this, you won't be able to. So I'm in 10 and 19, and he said, "Oh man," it's Gabriel talking, and he said, "Oh man, greatly beloved, fear not, peace be unto thee. Be strong, yea, be strong." And when he had spoken unto me, I was strengthened, and I said, "Let my Lord." See, they go Lord right there, but notice it's lowercase. So that means another Lord. It ain't the Lord of hosts. So that's one example right there. So then you keep going, and it says, 19 says, "Fear not, peace be unto thee, be strong." And when he had spoken unto me, I was strengthened. And he said, "Let my Lord," see that, "speak, and thou hast strengthened me." Then 20, then said he, "Knowest thou not wherefore I come? And now I will return and fight with the prince of Persia." What prince is that? That's a fallen angel. That's over Persia. But you gotta know that. If you don't know that, you off on Priam Road. Let's keep going. And when I am gone forth, lo, the prince of Greece. That's another fallen angel. So you say, what are you talking about? 21. But I will show thee that which is noted in the scriptures of truth. There is none that holdeth with me in these things but Michael. Who? Your prince. They go prince again. Michael a prince. So you got to know how to rightly divide this when you're reading it. And so David a prince. Solomon a prince. Antiochus a prince. You got to know what prince you're dealing with. Okay? Let's keep going. So it says right here, is the prince to come, who he said, who you say, and Epiphanes is, and the man in linen who you say Michael is, at Daniel doing the same job. You got to rightly divide that. Okay, it says Romans invented the New Testament to fulfill prophecy, and the Greeks invented the Maccabees to fulfill prophecy. Why do you choose to trust the Greek story instead of the Roman story? I mean, I'm breaking down the timeline. That's what I'm saying. It don't matter where it's at. I can get this out of a Harlequin romance novel. If it line up and it's line upon line, precept upon precept, it don't matter where I got it from. So, you know, that's how that go.
Hey, Leonard.
You come in.
Hey, Leonard.
Yeah.
So, third beast in Daniel. That's a monster. But
Oh yeah. Right. Exactly. That's what we
what
got
they
evidence there.
did, yeah, what they did was they took him out and they made their revelation.
Right. Exactly.
And you know this already to happen, but they trying to
Right.
make us think it's to come.
It's to come,
Is
right?
that right?
And throwing off our timeline.
Right.
Exactly.
And there's a lot missing out of Daniel, right?
Oh, right. Exactly. It's a lot missing out there. But like I said before, I ain't met nobody that went in and figured that out.
No, me neither. Yeah.
So I mean, you know, you got it. It's a bunch of stuff you got to understand. You know, you got to understand who the Lord is and what Lord is. Let me go in one more time on that. You know, you ain't gonna get it overnight. You ain't gonna fall off no watermelon truck and get it. So here we go. Daniel. Genesis 18. Genesis 18. And when the Lord, see that? It's a capital L. He got a capital L there for a reason. So it says, and the Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. Now we in verse 19. 2 angels visit Lot. And that's an angel over here in 18:1, but he got a capital L. I'm over here in Genesis chapter 19, and there was 2 angels. See that? He tell you right here. But you ain't gonna understand this unless you can write it divided. It says, and there come 2 angels to Sodom at evening, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, Lot waiting on him. And Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground, and he said, behold, my lords. See that? Lowercase. But who knows that? You got to write it divided. So that tells me over here, the angel over here in Genesis 18:1 is got a whole different role he's doing and a whole different position than the other 2. Because he got lowercase. He ain't Yahweh. Because he tells you, he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. These angels come appear to us as men. So it ain't Yahweh, but he got capital L. So let's say, you say, what are you talking about? Well, let's go to the prince part of it. Let's go to Daniel. Daniel. I'm in chapter 8. I'm in Daniel chapter 8. Like I said, you have to understand what prince he talking about. 25, Daniel 8:25. Through his policies also shall he cause craft to prosper in his hands, and he shall magnify himself. This is the prince that you talking about over in Daniel 9:25. This is the prince I'm talking about. It ain't no angel. So it says, and through his policies also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart. By peace he shall destroy many. This is the prince right here. This is the one Antiochus. And then he shall also stand up against what? Capital prince. There's a capital P. The prince of princes. That's the Lord of hosts. But he shall be broken without hand. Why is he broken without hand? He's fumbling around with the Lord of hosts. He's a nut bucket. He ain't nothing but a prince that come out of Rome, but now he's messing with the prince of princes. And that's over in 2nd Maccabees, where he killed him. But how you going, like I said, how you going to write a divide that if you don't understand that it's what prince you're dealing with, and what Lord you're dealing with, and what angel you're dealing with? It's a process. Okay? Any more comments?
Hey, Leonard.
Yeah.
Now, when he told Daniel to seal the book,
Yeah.
that was Apocrypha too, right?
Yeah. They all the Apocrypha is, like I was saying before. Let's go to Apocrypha right quick. We'll break that down. So you got first Ezra, second Ezra, right? That's all. That's all that Ezra. They spelling it different. They spelling ESDRA over here in the Apocrypha books, but that's the same Ezra over in the Bible in the King James. EEZRA, same book. Okay. Then you got Esther, the book of Esther. That comes out of when you look at the story, it comes out of Daniel. And then you got the book of Baruch. Baruch is Jeremiah's scribe. They just came over here and made a book out of it. But Baruch is Jeremiah's scribe. That come out of Jeremiah. And then the story of Susanna, that's Daniel's early childhood. That come out of the book of Daniel. The song of the three boys, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they come out of Daniel. The story of Bel and the dragon, that's Daniel. That's all that is. And then I showed you first and second Maccabees, that come out of Daniel. The prophecy itself wasn't fulfilled in the book in the Old Testament. They took it out and it's over here in first and second Maccabees. So all these books, so-called books in the Apocrypha, they just these wicked ass Edomites and just took them out and stuck them over here. Stories from our records. Like I said, how is it a book of Esther when he's telling you all through the book? Mordecai, the one got raised up. The story about Mordecai. The same thing happened to Joseph in Egypt. He got raised up, the second in command. So, and Mordecai got raised up second in command. It's the book of Mordecai. But like I said, who knows that?
Right.
Who knows that? You got tidbits of the information. I mean, it ain't gonna sound right to you. Yeah. So we say right here, they destroyed our books. The books are being unsealed. Right. They're being unsealed. But like I said, you're gonna be what you come to find out when the priest, right? There's another thing that you have to know. When the priest and the vessels and the king's son and the high priest's son, they tied to the vessels in the temple. So when Nebuchadnezzar took the vessels to Babylon, don't it tell you that he took the king's son with him? There ain't no accident. The king's son is holy. The vessel's holy. The high priest's son holy. The priest, the high priest, and the king, all them holy. Where the vessels go, they're gonna end up where the vessels at. They all go together. And you got to understand those things. Those are things that And so, reason I'm saying that is, Israelites. Most High says he looked down from heaven, and Jacob got 12 sons. But when he looked down from heaven, he see all them boys as one man. That's why you get him in Isaiah 53. They thinking it's JC. That's why he's saying him. That's why he's saying him in Jeremiah 30. So you say, what are you talking about? Well, the scriptures the same way. He scattered the Israelites. He scattered the scriptures. But he promised us that he gonna raise up saviors in the latter days, and they're gonna rightly divide the word. They're gonna connect the dots. And so my thing is this, like I said before, I don't know nobody connecting the dots. And when you see somebody connecting the dots, that should be a sign. Okay.
Big sign.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. I mean, come on. I ain't, you know what I'm saying? I ain't been to no seminary. I ain't been to I wasn't raised up in Jerusalem. I ain't been to the Knesset. So I mean, so it's something going on. Yeah. Yeah. So let me see if I got some more on here. Okay. It says, yeah, Ezra Sethar, right? That's right. Ezra Sethar, that's well, I wouldn't say Ezra Sethar, but let's look at that. Let's look at it. Let's look at that. That's another trickeration of these Edomites. So let's look at it. Okay, I'm in Haggai. So when I say Haggai, the first thing I think about is when Zerubbabel came back. Zerubbabel is the Messiah in Daniel 9:25. He the one that came back with and rebuilt the temple. He the Messiah that came back and they rebuilt the temple and the streets and all that stuff in Daniel 9:25. But Haggai and Zechariah is with him. Right? So you gotta understand those two prophets with him. So when you understand that, when you read the book of Haggai and Zechariah, understand they came back with Zerubbabel. So let's look at this Sethel thing right here. Let's look at it. We're going all the way in. So I'm in chapter 2. So you got two anointed ones and two messiahs in Israel. You got the seed out of David, which is the king, and then you got a seed. You got a covenant with Aaron. There's always going to be a high priest out of Aaron that's running the temple. You always got a king out of David, and it's just running Israel. Those two people got to be identified. Every time Israel go into captivity and come out, they got to be identified. It's two messiahs. So I'm over here, chapter 2. We're going to see if the word line up with that. I mean, Haggai chapter 2. They got to go back. They're getting ready to leave Babylon. So it says, in the 17th month, in the first, let's say, in the 17th month, in the 1 and 20th day of the month, came the word of the Lord by the prophet Haggai, saying, look at this, speak to Zerubbabel, right? The son of Sethel. See that? You say Ezra is Sethel, right? Speak to Zerubbabel, the son of Sethel, governor of Judah, king. See that? He's trying to trick you all by saying governor, but that's king of Judah. And Joshua, the son of Josadak, the high priest, and to the residue of the people saying. So we say, what are you talking about? Well, Josiah is a back to the prince thing. Josiah is a son of Sethel. Joshua, the son of Sethel, he's a high priest. So you say, what are you talking about? Sethel went back. He the one left in the captivity when Nebuchadnezzar took them there. Sethel had Josadak. They only left for 70 years. Josadak had Joshua, the high priest. That's why he called him out. So let's look at it. I'm gonna keep reading. So it says, the high priest. See, I ain't writing. To the residue of the people saying, who is there left among you that saw the house in her first glory? And how you see it now? It is not in your eyes in comparison of passing as of nothing, right? He said, yeah, now be strong, O Zerubbabel, says the Lord, and be strong, Joshua, son of Joseph, the high priest, and be strong, all the people. So when you go do your research, you're gonna find out Sethel had Josadak while they was in Babylon. Then Josadak had Joshua. That's why he called Joshua out, because Joshua is a prince that's in line and waiting in line to be the high priest, and Zerubbabel is a prince in line to be the king. So that ain't correct. So it says, That's why we remove. So that's another trick. Like I say, that's another trick of these Edomites. So that's why they remove and change Ezra 3:1 into an destruction of the city. Sethel, who was also called Ezra, is in Babylon. That's them. That's a trick of them, because Ezra came back. It was 3 excursions. It was 3 excursions. It was 3 excursions from Babylon, from Jerusalem to Babylon. It was 3 excursions back. So Ezra is Sethel, and he was the first one that came back. I mean, he was the last one that came back. And so you say, how do we know that? Because when he came back, he found the people had sinned. They had already started sinning. They had intermarried with the people of the land. So he was the last one that came back. So if Sethel is Ezra, he would have been the high priest, because Sethel was out of the lineage of he's out of the lineage of Aaron. That's how we know that. Okay. But like I say, who know that? Yeah. Okay. Anybody else got anything? So like I said, I mean, what you have to do is go look at Matthew. You see, Sethel can't he can't be Ezra. He can't be Ezra because Ezra is a priest. And then, like I said, Joshua is Joshua the high priest. He just told him Joshua the high priest, and Zerubbabel is the king. Those are two that got to be the 2 anointed ones that had to be identified every time Israel go into captivity. He got to identify the king and the high priest. So he already got the high priest identified. So Sethel can't be who they say he is. You know what I'm saying? So you have to go back and look at that.
And this captivity is going to be King David and Elijah, right?
Right, Elijah. Elijah is when you go back and do your research, you come to find out Elijah is out of the lineage of Aaron. Yeah, and he promised David that he was going to put him on his own throne in Psalms 132. Let me read that. Like I say, I ain't gonna go outside of these line upon line, precept upon precept. May not have heard it before, but yeah. So, what was you just asking?
I said the two messiahs in this captivity gonna be Elijah and King David.
Right. Yeah, I was going somewhere. I totally slipped my mind. Let me see if I was. Yeah, it slipped my mind. I lost what I was talking about. Yeah. So yeah. Elijah and David. Yeah, I was going to 132. Psalms 132. He promised David he's gonna put him back on his own throne. 132. Psalms 132. So I'm just gonna pick it up in first of all, verse 10 says, David talking, for thy servant David's sake, turn not away the face of thy anointed. That's all it means, Messiah. That's all that means, Messiah. That's who the Messiah is. The Lord have sworn in truth unto David, he will not turn from it, or of the fruit of his body will I set upon thy throne. Prince. Fruit of his body, all the fruit of David's body is princes. You got to be able to rightly divide what prince. So 12, if thy children will keep my covenant and my testimony that I shall teach them, that children shall also sit upon my throne. You can't sit upon the throne unless you're a prince. Okay? 13, for the Lord hath chosen Zion. He hath desired it for his habitation. This is my rest forever. Here will I dwell, for I have desired it. I will abundantly bless her provisions I will satisfy her poor with bread. I will also clothe her priests with salvation, and her saints shall shout aloud for joy. There, look, here we go. There will I make the horn of David, not Yahushua, the horn of David, the bud. I have ordained a lamp for my Messiah. See that? His enemies will I clothe with shame, but upon himself, see that? Shall his crown glory, shall his crown flourish. So he's telling you right there, he's going to put David back on his own throne. And he got Elijah coming back. That's the two Messiahs. So, you know, like I say, you can let that ferment, or you can fumble with it, whatever you want to do with it. Yeah, but there you go right there. Okay. Anybody else got anything? Everybody good?
Yes, sir. You did it.
Okay, yeah. You gotta go all the way in and understand what's going on with this. These thinking like a Gentile ain't gonna get you nowhere. You gotta think like a Hebrew. I mean, you're gonna only get so far with thinking like a Gentile, but once you get the concept and how everything is being happening, then you know the whole scriptures open up.
Great breakdown.
Right. So yeah. Okay, so with that being said, let me hit this line right quick. And yeah, I want to say something else before I go. Yeah, I was looking at I mean, everybody can think about it and you know, let it ferment, trying to get somebody to read the Psalms, get somebody else to read the Psalms every day. Try to, you know, kind of alter the flow a little bit. I think it'd be a lot better if we had somebody else reading the Psalms. That way you can, you know, add a little sauce to the lesson. So when we come back together on Wednesday, I'll see what everybody got to say about that. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. I'll see y'all on I'll see the men tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And I'll see everybody else on Wednesday at 7. Shalom.
All right. Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
Okay.
Shalom.
Oh.